Alright, alright folks, welcome back to the Whitfield analysis. So, before I went to commercial break, I stated that this whole thing with the Zimmerman trial isn't so much about, whether Trayvon Martin was murdered or whether it was self-defense. I stated that, to the American left, to the liberal establishment, they have used this entire tragedy to try and push gun control. And, folks, I have proof of this too. This morning when I was doing show prep, I found an article on Breitbart.com which proves this, and I have it up on my iPad. So anyway, let me read this article to you. The headline is, and this is from Breitbart.com, and the headline is Obama responds to Zimmerman verdict. Stem the tide of gun violence for Trayvon. President Barack Obama issued a long-awaited response Sunday afternoon to the acquittal of George Zimmerman Saturday evening, reminding Americans to temper passions and that we are a nation of laws and the jury has spoken. Well, I'm glad to see that President Obama agrees on that at least, but it gets better, folks. Next paragraph. He added that Americans should honor the life of Trayvon Martin by committing to stem the tide of gun violence and, quote, ask ourselves if we are doing all we can to widen the circle of compassion in our communities. Again, folks, this has nothing to do with compassion. This has everything to do with the fact that Obama and the liberal establishment want more gun control laws. I don't know how else I can put that. In March 2012, Obama had lent his political weight to those pressing for Zimmerman's prosecution, saying that, quote, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon, end quote. Ah, yes, folks, I remember that very well. In his statement Sunday, he did not comment on calls by the NAACP and others for a Department of Justice prosecution of Zimmerman on civil rights grounds, which is another thing that the left is talking about. Obama, next paragraph. Obama's push for gun control laws floundered earlier this year in the Democrat-controlled Senate. The full statement, next paragraph. The full statement is as follows. Okay, so here's his full statement regarding Trayvon Martin's death and the trial, folks. Let me do my best Barack Obama impersonation. The death of Trayvon Martin was a tragedy. Not just for the family or for any one community, but for America. I know this has elicted strong passions, and in the wake of the verdict, I know that those passions might be running even higher. But we are a nation of laws, and a jury has spoken. I now ask every American to respect the call for a calm reflection from two parents who lost their young son. And as we do, we should ask ourselves if we are doing all we can to widen the circle of compassion and understanding in our own communities. We should ask ourselves if we're doing all we can to stem the tide of gun violence that claims too many lives across this country on a daily basis. We should ask ourselves as individual as individuals and as a society. How we can prevent future tragedies like this. As citizens, that's a job for all of us. That's the way to honor Trayvon Martin. Okay, so that's Obama's statement, folks. But see, and see that's what I mean though. This whole entire thing, ladies and gentlemen, is is about gun control. I don't know how else to put it, folks. This whole thing that the Democrats have been hell-bent on is all about gun control. If George, the rhetoric goes as followed: if George Zimmerman didn't have a gun, none of this would have happened. Yeah, if George, it partially they're right. If George Zimmerman didn't have a gun, Trayvon Martin would not be dead, but rather George Zimmerman probably would have been dead because Trayvon Martin was attacking him. Folks, keep in mind, Trayvon Martin was not the sweet, innocent little 12-year-old boy that his mother and uh, her lawyer and the NAACP painted him to be. You know, they toted that photo of him when he was 12 years old, you know, smiling and being a good kid. Uh, and that was quite the opposite. In reality, he was 17 years old, and he was they haven't been able to conclude this indefinitely, but evidence, or I shouldn't really call it evidence because it wasn't used in the trial, but there has been proof that from his cell phone and from his Facebook page and from his other social networks that he was getting into the gangbanging scene. He was getting into the scene of gangbanging and you know, the hip hop culture. Uh, there were a couple photos of him smoking marijuana, I believe. Uh, he was hanging around some less than reputable characters. His girlfriend was certainly not a girl I would want to date, and whatnot. Folks, also keep in mind, if Trayvon Martin was still alive today, he and I would be the same age. Uh, he would be 18, as well as I'm 18. So keep in mind that, you know, when he was 12 years old and that was taken, that photo has to be back from like, has to be, you know, back from like 2006 or 2007. And, you know, a lot has happened since then. Now, folks, I want to, I want to play the, video for those of you just tuning in. I want to, I want to play for you the video of my video response to the Zimmerman trial and the verdict. This is the video response that I made last night in response to the Zimmerman trial. I know I played this at the beginning of the program, but for those just tuning in, I want them to hear it again because this is my stance on it. And plus, I want to read some of the comments I got on YouTube because they're absolutely because some of the comments I received are quite interesting to say the least. Anyway, So here's my response to the Zimmerman trial and to the liberals who wanted to riot. So anyway, Michael, I believe you've heard this or you've seen it, correct? Um, anyway, let me play that for you, and then I want to read to you some of the comments I received this morning because of this. They're quite interesting. So, folks, let me play this for you again. Anyway, here's my comments on the Zimmerman trial. Let's take a listen. And I firmly stick by my statements. This is not about uh race issue. It should have never been about the racial issue. Now, as far as I know, those who are threatening to try it have done nothing so far, which is a good thing. But I believe that's only because uh, certain individuals like myself have come out and said, do not riot. Folks, the American justice system might not be perfect, but it's pretty damn close. Zimmerman had his day in court, and you know, something in, something interesting just popped in my head, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Mike, you're saying I'm having microphone issues. Can you hear me or what? Here, let me adjust. Okay, I've got my mic more set more towards me. Can you hear me better? Anyway, as I was saying, folks, a thought popped into my head, folks, and that thought of mine is, if, let's say that George Zimmerman was a black guy, and Trayvon Martin was a white kid. I don't know why there would be a white kid named Trayvon, but you know, so be it. Let's say that. Let's just say though that for the sake of argument, uh, Trayvon was a white kid, and Trayvon was a white kid, and George Zimmerman were a black guy. Let's say it was completely the opposite. Let's say that like this was a black guy who attacked a white Hispanic kid, shall we? Now, the NAACP, the lefties, would be saying that the black guy was accused of a crime he didn't commit, and they would most likely be saying that Zimmerman, if he was African American, was completely innocent, and they'd be putting up a heck of a time, to prove his innocence. If if the kid were, if the kid that was white was shot. Now, that wouldn't make any difference to me because the way I see it, uh, you know, here's the way I see it. It's not a racial issue at all. The the purpose of this case was to decide whether George Zimmerman acted in self-defense and or whether it was murder, and he was found not guilty of murder, and it was concluded that he acted in self-defense. Anyway, though, here are some of the comments that were posted in response to my video on YouTube. These are absolutely hilarious. So, this guy named Paul posted a response, and just to make it clear, he was being sarcastic when he made these comments on YouTube. But he said George Zimmerman had no right to try to try and stop the 6'2" Trayvon from killing him. Every teenager has the right to kill anyone they want, especially if it seems like they're being followed. What choice did Trayvon have? It's not like like he could have just kept walking and and gone home. No, no. If someone is following you, you should always knock them down, and then try to kill them. And folks, I'm laughing because Paul is sarcastically bringing up the liberal point of view, and that basically is what the liberal view is. That that because that they're basically saying sarcastically that Trayvon Martin should have had the right to attack George Zimmerman. They're trying to punish Zimmerman for defending himself, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, Now there are some really racist comments stating that stating that you know Zimmerman was a Jew and that's why he got let off. Anyway, I'm going to ignore that comment, but anyway, you get my point. It's absolutely ridiculous that race became an issue in this, and it's absurd. Anyway, when we come back from commercial break, I have some really positive and really uplifting audio to play. But anyway, so we'll be right back. Basically, here's my feeling on how the liberal establishment is acting about the Trayvon Martin case. And this is just my opinion, but they're acting really stupid about the verdict. Alright, folks, I'll be right back after this commercial break, and we'll wrap up the show. I have some really positive audio to wrap up the week, so it should be good. Anyway, folks, I'll be right back. Stay tuned. I'll be right back for wrap up. You're listening to Field Analysis. Folks, I just figure I would end the show with a little U2 for the bumper, and with a little humorous clip that I found on YouTube. This is a parody that I found of Anonymous, and I just found it while I was mulling around on YouTube, and this made me laugh out loud, and I think it'll make you laugh too. It brings a little lighthearted to the situation. Again, this is a parody of the Anonymous movement, which is the computer hacking uh, cyber wing of the Occupy movement. So let let's take a listen, and and I'm going to mute the microphone because I'm going to burst out laughing, and if I don't mute it, you'll hear it. So it's pretty funny though. So anyway, this is called "We Are Ridiculous," and you'll love it. um, oh my gosh, folks, that is too hilarious. But I mean, it's honestly true. Anonymous and the Occupy Wall Street movement, you know, they're connected with each other, but that's basically what Anonymous's whole crusade is. You know, Anonymous like claims to be this group that wants to, you know, provide more freedom on the internet, you know, and that they care for like human rights. But basically, at the end of the day, all they want is like free stuff, and I just absolutely burst out laughing when when they said we are going to spew feces like you've never seen. And whoa, Michael, are you all of a sudden why are you all of a sudden quoting ridiculous, buddy? That's what I'm going to call them from now on. Anonymous is no longer anonymous, they're just ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous, folks. That's all I can say. Anyway, so we're ending the day with laughter, and then before I end the show, I I want to leave you on an encouraging note. This is This is my this is a clip of my colleague Lyda Loudon. Lyda is the host of Sarcasm Overdose, and she joined about what 2 months ago, I think. And when I first heard about her, and when I first heard about her show, to be quite honest, I wasn't really sure uh, what she was doing. I hadn't heard her get like all that passionate politically. Um, she has a very interesting approach. She mixes her show between politics and pop culture, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a completely different style than I'm used to. But I was really glad on Wednesday when I heard her with this attitude. Lyda has come down with a case of what I like to call Patriot Fever. And the only cure is to be more patriotic and just to kick more liberal ass. So anyway, this is Lyda on conservatism and the conservative youth movement, and I absolutely love this. And she's just a great colleague. And if this doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what else will. This just is inspiring, and I absolutely love her attitude about this. So anyway, here is Lyda Loudon in regards to being a conservative youth activist. I absolutely love this. This put me in a really good mood today. Let's take a listen. This is from Sarcasm Overdose on Wednesday at the beginning. Oh yes, Lyda. You can bet that that's archived, and it's just been played here on the Whitfield Analysis. And speaking to my colleague Lyda, I just want to let you know that that's a completely natural feeling. Not only that, but gee, I know you and I don't know each other that well, but you're starting to sound a lot like me. Folks, there will literally be some nights where I'm not kidding you. where I have, uh, where I have, you know, worked on like blogging and whatever, and I've started doing it at like 5 at night, and literally I get so impassioned about what I'm doing that sometimes I've like stayed up till like 1 or 2 or 3. I think one time I've been stayed up until like 4:30 a.m. in the morning because I was just so revved up and passionate about America and what it was doing. And Lida, I completely understand the feeling of being simultaneously delirious and simultaneously pumped up. I suffer from that condition often. So, if you ever feel like you need someone to be delirious with, happily delirious and happily pumped up, feel free to get into contact with me. You have my info. So, anyway, folks, I just thought I would share that with you because that makes me really happy to hear that there are other conservatives like myself who are just so passionate about America, and I absolutely love this. Uh, um, anyway, so I just thought I would leave you with that. And folks, it's been a great show. We had a great show last night despite the rainfall. And we had a great show today. And again, I am so pumped up about this nation. And we're just going to do great things. I know we are, folks. I absolutely know it. Alright, folks, from all of us here at Junior Factor Nation and Next Gen Conservative Radio, have a great evening. Have a great rest of your weekend. God bless you all. God bless America. And I will see you all next weekend. Jason Veely kicks off another week of broadcasting tomorrow with Factor Talk Radio at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it, folks. Alright, folks. Good night and God bless. And I'll see you next weekend. God bless.